Thank you for coming today.
For today's show on Chasing Critiques, we will feature two documentaries a well-known documentarian named Jess Orlowski had created, named Chasing Ice and Chasing Coral.
For our first documentary critique, Jot will talk about Chasing Ice and his experience viewing the film.
Thanks, Macy. To open off the documentary called Chasing Ice, there were beautiful shots of ice sheets by a photographer named James Bullock, who had a passion for photography. The documentary brought his perspective about global warming and what he did to inform the world about its effects. His passion and experience in photography had pushed him to make great risks, to produce images that would inform the world about what the future will hold if we continue to pollute like this. He encountered large problems, which were the malfunctioning of some of his cameras that he used. This was the main focus of the documentary because he used his sheer determination to overcome the issues, even if it meant getting injured in the process. The expectations that I had for this film were that Bullock and his team would capture the photos that they need, and they would achieve great success. Instead, what I had witnessed was them struggling to keep up with the numerous complications that arose after every corner. They had to persevere a lot throughout the entire film, something I thought would never happen. As per any questions that were left unanswered, I wonder where he found the determination to go to a place where the weather was almost always negative 20 degrees Celsius and try to take photographs. I guess he understood the impact that global warming had on the world, and he wanted to share it with the world in a powerful way. Another question is that, does he still have the determination to continue to open the eyes of those that are blind to the fact that global warming is still an issue and will continue to be until someone takes action? The recommended age I think this documentary is good for is all ages, but especially the youth. The future generation should know about the problems that our world faces every day. If they are educated about the subject, they can be the solution to the issue. That's if they know what's going on. So I recommend this amazing film to people who are under 16 years of age. This documentary left me awestruck by the amazing images of the opening scene, but left me realizing that this world is in serious trouble. The burning of fossil fuels has caused polar ice caps to melt, and this is causing serious problems like water levels rising all over the world. The documentary, in my perspective, is not for enjoyment, but is very educational and can be used to understand the effects of global warming, and I wouldn't recommend it to my friends to watch for pleasure.
Wow, I never realized how much the world is impacted by pollution. We don't normally think about the polar ice caps being the victims of burning of fossil fuels.
Now, on to the second documentary called Chasing Coral. Macy will share her experiences.
Hello everybody. Today I will be critiquing a documentary called Chasing Coral. To summarize it, the coral reefs are dying and becoming bleached. The documentary, directed by Jeff Orlowski, basically follows a small group of scientists and engineers and divers as they try to document the coral as it's bleaching. The scientists first reached out to some engineers to create some cameras that would take a 360-degree picture at a scheduled interval per hour. It worked at the beginning, but then they began to stop working due to water leaking in, cameras not focusing, and a variety of other technical problems. They still had the drive to continue and to raise awareness to reach their end goal of lowering global warming to stop the Great Barrier Reef from bleaching so much time. They wanted to continue, so what they did was that they put a 360-degree camera onto a long pole and manually took the pictures by diving under the water and swimming around the coral reefs. They were basically doing an entire Google Earth type photos of the coral reefs. And I found this extremely fascinating because it just took so much time and so many hours underwater swimming forwards and taking the picture, marking their spot, and then they would repeat it. They just had so much interest, and it was just overall really cool to me. What also was quite interesting to me was that they didn't just use the 360-degree photos for research on the coral reefs, but they also used it by going to schools and letting the students see how the coral reefs are impacted. What the team did was that they made these goggles that let students see one of the photos and they could just look around and see all the angles of it. The point of the documentary is to create awareness and to start change for global warming because the temperature of the ocean has increased and it's killing the coral. I did learn a lot about the impacts of global warming that I didn't know before, and I didn't know that global warming had reached all the way to the coral reefs and was killing them. In my opinion, Chasing Coral is a very well-made documentary in many ways. It took over 3 years to film, and it's filmed quite well. I think that Chasing Coral is a fitting title because the team is trying to find coral that has not been impacted and started or is already bleached. Chasing Coral is an overall very well made documentary that inspired me and made me more aware of what is happening from pollution and the burning of fossil fuels. I also saw a lot of pictures of the ocean and marine life that I've never seen before. I really enjoyed it and definitely recommend it to watch. Thank you.
The Great Barrier Reef is a world attraction, but what the world doesn't know is that global warming is not only impacting people on land, but it's also impacting life under the sea.
We learned a lot today, mostly focusing on the topic of burning non-renewable resources.
Overall, both documentaries brought a clear statement to our minds. The use of fossil fuels has ruined our amazing planet, but it is not too late to clean up the mess that we have created.